Walk through the lobby of a beachfront hotel in Santa Monica on a Saturday evening in July, what should be the absolute peak of California's summer tourism season, and you'll witness something that contradicts every image of California as America's most desirable tourist destination. The lobby, designed to handle hundreds of guests, has maybe a dozen people scattered across its vast space. The concierge desk sits with staff staring at their phones because hours pass between inquiries. The valet parking area has more attendants than vehicles. Drive up the coast to San Francisco, and the pattern repeats itself. Fisherman's Wharf, the waterfront attraction that used to be packed with tourists, now feels half empty. Hotel occupancy in the city's major tourist hotels is running at 58% to 63% during peak summer season, compared to 85% to 92% before 2020. Visit Disneyland in Anaheim and you'll notice something unprecedented: walk-on times for major attractions during what should be the busiest weeks of summer. California is facing a tourism crisis that's accelerating faster than anyone in the industry wants to acknowledge. Hotel occupancy rates across major destinations are down 20% to 35% compared to pre-pandemic levels. International tourist arrivals have collapsed by 40%. The economic impact is devastating, with tourism-dependent businesses closing by the hundreds. The numbers are impossible to ignore. California welcomed approximately 280 million visitors in 2019, generating $144 billion in direct tourism spending. In 2024, visitor numbers dropped to 195 million, a 30% decline, with spending falling to 98 billion, a 32% collapse. Projections for 2025 suggest further declines, with visitor numbers potentially falling below 180 million. Hotel occupancy tells the story clearly. Los Angeles County hotels are averaging 61% occupancy in 2025, compared to 76% in 2019. San Francisco is worse at 54%, compared to 82% in 2019. San Diego is at 63%, down from 75%. International arrivals have been devastated, from 27 million in 2019 to 16.2 million in 2024, a 40% decline. Chinese tourists have essentially disappeared, from 4.8 million to fewer than 800,000. The most obvious factor driving tourists away is cost. California has become prohibitively expensive, destroying its value proposition. A mid-range Los Angeles hotel that cost $180 to $220 per night in 2019 now costs $320 to $400. Beachfront San Diego hotels went from $250 to $300 to $450 to $600. Even budget motels charge $150 to $200 for rooms that would cost $60 to $80 in other states. Food costs have reached absurd levels. A casual meal for a family of 4 that would cost $60 to $80 in most states costs $120 to $160 in California cities. Fast food for a family easily runs $50 to $65. Even groceries charge 30% to 40% more than other states. Attraction costs have skyrocketed. Disneyland admission went from $150 per person in 2019 to $194 to $214 now. A family of 4 spending 2 days at Disneyland can easily spend $2,000 to $3,000 on admission, parking, and minimal food before hotel costs. Even free activities have become expensive. State park parking costs $10 to $15. Beach parking is $15 to $30, and popular parks like Yosemite require advance reservations that sell out months ahead. A family of 4 spending a week in California easily spends $6,000 to $9,000. For that budget, they could visit Europe, go on a Caribbean cruise, or spend 2 weeks in Mexico. The value proposition simply doesn't exist anymore. The tourists themselves are making this clear. Jennifer and Mike, a couple from Ohio with 2 teenage children, were sitting in the Los Angeles airport waiting for their flight home when I spoke with them. "We saved for 3 years for this trip," Jennifer said. "We thought California would be the trip of a lifetime. Instead, it was the most stressful, disappointing, and expensive vacation we've ever taken. We spent $7,500 in 9 days, and we're going home." Feeling ripped off, Mike was even more direct. "Everything was double or triple what we expected. The hotel was $380 a night for a regular room in Anaheim, nothing special. Disneyland was $850, just for tickets for 1 day for the 4 of us, then another $200 for parking and food. We couldn't afford to do half the things we planned. We ended up just walking around free places because everything cost so much, and honestly, we didn't even feel safe doing that." Their teenagers, who should have been excited about visiting California, just looked exhausted and disappointed. It wasn't worth it. their 16-year-old daughter said quietly. "We could have gone to Florida for half the price and actually had fun instead of stressing about money the whole time." The homelessness crisis has become the most visible reason tourists cite for avoiding California. The scale in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego shocks and disturbs tourists, making them feel unsafe in areas that should be premier destinations. In San Francisco, major tourist areas are essentially unusable for families. The Tenderloin, which tourists walk through between attractions, is an open-air drug market where homeless individuals openly use drugs on sidewalks. Human waste, needles, and trash litter the streets. Union Square has lost Nordstrom, Saks Fifth Avenue, and numerous retailers, leaving empty storefronts and a district that feels abandoned. Rachel, a tourist from Canada, described her San Francisco experience with visible distress. "We brought our 8-year-old son to see the Golden Gate Bridge and ride cable cars. Within 2 hours of arriving, he'd seen people shooting up drugs on the street, human feces on the sidewalk, and a screaming confrontation between 2 homeless men that terrified him. We cut our San Francisco portion short by 2 days and drove to Napa instead. We'll never go back." Venice Beach in Los Angeles has been overrun by homeless encampments. The boardwalk, famous for street performers, is now dominated by tents and makeshift shelters. Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame has become seedy and uncomfortable rather than glamorous. Downtown LA's Skid Row has expanded to affect the convention center district. Tom and Linda, retirees from Arizona, had planned to spend a week in Southern California beaches. "We lasted 3 days," Tom said. "Every beach we went to had homeless people sleeping on the sand, aggressive panhandlers in the parking lots, and trash everywhere. The Venice Beach boardwalk looked like a refugee camp. We thought the photos online were exaggerated. They weren't. If anything, they didn't capture how bad it really is. We ended up driving home early and went to San Diego instead, thinking it would be better. It wasn't much better." Social media is full of shocked tourists posting videos of conditions they encountered, spreading awareness that deters potential visitors. Surveys show homelessness cited as a top reason people wouldn't return to California or recommend it to others. Crime and safety concerns have reached critical mass. Smash-and-grab thefts and car break-ins are so common that tourists constantly worry about being victims. In San Francisco, rental cars at tourist destinations are regularly broken into. This happens so frequently that rental companies now warn tourists and discourage leaving anything visible in vehicles. Major stores have locked up basic merchandise behind security glass, requiring staff assistants to buy toothpaste or deodorant. Walgreens, CVS, and Target have closed dozens of stores, leaving tourists without convenient shopping. The remaining stores feel more like prison commissaries than retail experiences. High-profile violent incidents, while statistically rare, get massive media coverage and shape perceptions. Whether statistics support this perception is irrelevant, because perception drives tourism decisions. Environmental crises have become significant deterrents. Wildfire season now extends nearly year-round, creating uncertainty for tourists. Yosemite, Lake Tahoe, Big Sur, and Wine Country have all faced closures or evacuations. Air quality during fire season regularly reaches unhealthy or hazardous levels in Los Angeles and the Bay Area, with recommendations to avoid outdoor activities. For tourists seeking California's outdoor lifestyle, being told to stay indoors is trip-ruining. The competition has intensified dramatically. Florida offers year-round warm weather, world-class theme parks, better value, and none of California's urban problems. Orlando alone now attracts more tourists annually than all of Southern California, a stunning reversal. Texas has captured cultural tourism with Austin's music scene and lower costs. Tennessee offers music culture and natural beauty at half California's cost. Internationally, tourists are skipping California for other US regions or staying home. New York offers a more compact urban experience. Utah, Wyoming, and Montana offers spectacular outdoor experiences without urban problems and with better value. European tourists find California prohibitively expensive when vacationing in Spain or Portugal costs less. Business travel has collapsed in ways that won't fully recover. Tech companies have embraced remote work, decimating the business travel that used to fill hotels. San Francisco, which depended heavily on business travel and conventions, has been particularly devastated. Major tech conferences have gone virtual or hybrid with far fewer in-person attendees. The convention business has shifted to Las Vegas, Orlando, and Phoenix, which offer newer facilities, lower costs, and cities that feel safer. California convention centers report booking declines of 30% to 40%. The human toll is severe. Hotel workers face reduced hours or layoffs. Maria, a Santa Monica hotel housekeeper for 18 years, used to work 40 hours weekly. Now she gets 20 to 25 hours, sometimes less, after the hotel laid off. 30% of staff. Restaurant owners describe impossible math. Fixed costs stay the same, while revenue has collapsed 40% to 50%. Many are burning through savings and taking loans, facing closure within months. James, who owns a seafood restaurant near Fisherman's Wharf, put it bluntly. "We're losing $18,000 every month. I've depleted my savings, taken out loans against my house, and I'm still sinking. If summer doesn't turn around, I'll close by September." That's 22 employees losing their jobs, families that depend on this income, gone, and I lose everything I've built over 25 years. The ripple effects extend throughout California's economy. Tour operators report bookings down 50% to 60%. Souvenir shops are closing because foot traffic doesn't justify rent. Even Uber and Lyft drivers say they've seen dramatic declines in airport pickups and tourist district rides. The future looks bleak without dramatic changes. The most optimistic scenario involves accepting permanently lower tourism levels and focusing on higher spending visitors, which still means massive job losses. A pessimistic scenario sees continued decline where California's reputation deteriorates further, more businesses fail, urban conditions worsen, and the state enters a doom loop. The transformative scenario would require addressing core problems, tackle homelessness through housing and services, improve public safety, moderate costs through policy changes, and invest in infrastructure. The political will and resources required don't currently exist. California's golden age of tourism is over. The state that defined the American vacation has become a cautionary tale of decline. Empty hotels, struggling businesses, and disappointed tourists prove something fundamental has broken. California still has incomparable beauty, perfect weather, and world-class attractions. But increasingly, those assets aren't enough to overcome costs, safety concerns, urban problems, and competition from destinations, offering better experiences for less money. The tourists have noticed, and they're voting with their wallets by spending vacation dollars elsewhere. Unless California addresses its fundamental problems, the exodus will continue, and the state will lose half or more of its tourism industry over the next decade. The empty hotel lobbies aren't temporary. They're the new normal for a destination that priced itself out of the market and failed to maintain the basic safety and cleanliness that tourists expect. Have you visited California recently and been disappointed? Are you choosing other destinations instead? What would it take for California to win you back? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more honest reporting on America's changing tourism landscape.